We live in a country so great that we don't need the anti-Sharia and anti-Muslim legislation our friends are proposing today, because our Constitution already forbids theocratic imposition and establishment of any kind at all, whether it's Christian white nationalism expressed in compulsory Ten Commandments displays, an Orthodox Jewish set-aside school district in New York, or any effort to replace secular public law with a religious sectarian code, whether that's Sharia law, the Analects of Confucius, the Torah, or anything else. So this completely unnecessary hearing, another distraction from the administration's cover-up of the Epstein files and the continuing brutal violation of people's constitutional rights in Minneapolis, is a wonderful opportunity to remind ourselves why our Constitution has 3 essential religion clauses and why they do all of the work that people are talking about doing today. The Establishment Clause, the Free Exercise Clause, and the clause guaranteeing no religious tests for public office. And if you take time to study them, they will dispel all the anxieties stirred up by legislation and agitation like this. Anything legitimate that our colleagues want to say about preventing the imposition of Sharia law in America is already accomplished by the Establishment Clause. So everybody can rest easy with Thomas Jefferson's wall of separation between church and state that he identified in his famous letter to the Danbury Baptists. Let's say someone proposes that all public schools and government offices should post the core principles of Sharia law, which I don't know what they are exactly, and I looked online and there were like 4 or 5 different versions, but let's take one which said protecting religion, life, family, intellect, property, and wealth. Another one said protecting honesty, trustworthiness, mercy, humility, moderation, and honoring promises. But whatever it is, if somebody said we want to put Muslim Sharia law up in all the schools and all the government buildings, we would know very quickly how to deal with that, because we're not writing on a blank slate. In fact, we're in something of a furor over the laws compelling the posting of the 10 Commandments right now that were recently passed in Louisiana and Texas, but the Supreme Court already struck down such 10 Commandment laws in 1980, more than 45 years ago, in a case called Stone versus Graham, as a plain violation of the Establishment Clause, which forbids governmental endorsement of any religious text or any religious doctrine. We don't even have one agreed upon version of the 10 Commandments. There's a Catholic version, there's a Lutheran version, there's an Episcopalian version, many others you can find online. Which one would the government even endorse? Well, we've got members of this body who vehemently denounce Sharia law, but also agree with Louisiana and Texas that we should be posting the 10 Commandments of some particular sectarian variety up in the schools. When this came up last Congress, there were members of the Oversight Committee who said we should not only be putting the 10 Commandments up in public schools, but in Congress and all public buildings. I told them the 10 Commandments have been doing fine for millennia without an endorsement by the Freedom Caucus in the House of Representatives. One guy told me, well, you know the 10 Commandments are the basis for the Bill of Rights. I was kind of confused because, you know, there are 10 in each one, but I said, let's test the proposition. The first commandment says, thou shalt have no other God before me. The First Amendment says, Congress shall law respecting an establishment of religion. So I don't think the first commandment dictates the First Amendment. They wanted to go to the floor and have an up or down vote on the 10 Commandments. I said, if we're going to vote on the 10 Commandments in 2025, we should vote on each commandment separately. And you shouldn't be allowed to vote on any commandment you yourself have ever violated. That would make more sense. In any event, this is res judicata. It's a closed case.